Didn't the other kids tell you not to come here? Go back before it's too late!
At the heart of horror, there has always been more than spooks and scares.
Sometimes, it's not what you see, but what you hear.
Welcome to Sound Scary.
Each week, we talk to the artists, the musicians, the fans, the people who haunt the shadowy corners of your mind.
Join us as we delve into the deepest,
Darkest.
and most unforgettable earscapes.
Welcome to Sound Scary.
Welcome back to another episode of Sound Scary. I am your host, Ryan Coltrera, and today we have the director of a new film that deals with demonic possession in a really unique way. But first, I want to kick it over to my co-host.
Hey, I'm Jimmy O, and we're really excited to have Kevin return to our show. And it's I keep getting so blown away by the movies you're creating, with the budgets you're working with, and the effectiveness of the scares and the suspense, as well as the humor. I tell people about Willy's Wonderland all the time, and it's such a marvelous film. But this is a really huge departure for you. What was the reason to tell this story and go into this kind of darker subject matter?
I did Willy's, which was awesome. I had a great time and everything. But as you know, like in Hollywood too, it's like you get pigeonholed, right? Like people just see, it really blows me away because it's like for such a creative field that we're all in with films and everything, so many people I feel are so close-minded and they just see you and they're like, well, that's it. You're the Willy's Wonderland guy. So you can do horror and comedy and don't give him anything really, scary or serious. He does wacky and kitsch and all that. So, so for me, I was like, well, here's a script that I really liked. My mom, my mom's 91, I'm taking care of her. I have a daughter who's, teenage. I have two sisters, so I can identify with the themes of the females, of what they're going through with the characters in the script. It was more of a drama. It was exciting to me that a movie to work on with performances and heavy themes. The idea of it, the demon. Yes, it's physical in our movie, but we all have our demons that we all have to go, face. And if you don't, they're going to come catch up with you later. So with all those themes in the script and stuff, I was like, you know what, I got to make this movie. And the first opening act, I really got me because I just loved the whole witch thing was going on. And then when you switch gears and then you're on to Ellie's story and Beth and what's going on there. And I just felt like it was just time to make a movie that was really grounded, and it just, I wanted to make something that harkened back to like the 70s, the vintage horror movies of The Omen and Rosemary's Baby and The Changeling. Those are films that I loved. And Burnt Offerings was one of my, I remember seeing that as a TV movie. It blew me away. And I just was like, you know what, there's an opportunity here to do something. And I don't know if I'm going to get that where I might get pigeonholed in something else because I've done Willy's and that's great, but I want to do something else. So I feel as an artist, you always try to stretch yourself and push yourself and maybe get in a zone that's kind of uncomfortable a little bit, So all those things kind of made me want to make this film.
I mean, that was one of the first things I noticed was kind of the complete pivot from Willy's to this. That film is focused on a very kind of isolated, quiet character. And you go from that to this film that focuses on a relationship between these pairs of mothers and daughters. And I really did love that pivot. Was that something you were seeking, or did you kind of, when you discovered the script, discover that that's what you wanted to do deep down?
Rob Kenny's script had it all in there. But working with the actresses, both Sarahs were just great. They became like really good friends. You could just feel it. I mean, there were times where they were rehearsing and if you just picked up the earphones to listen to what was going on, you'd feel like they were just having a conversation, but they were doing a scene. And I was just like, that was just wonderful. Right. And Mina was fantastic. They all just brought their A game, Meg Foster, all of them. So yeah, it was just something I was really looking forward to do something different. You know, I knew it was going to be visual, but I knew at the end of the day, the visuals aside, if you get the character, if you get the theme, if you get the human connection with these characters, it's a drama, right? To me, good horror is drama, you know, but it's scary drama, right? Maybe you throw supernatural in that or something else, but at the end of the day, it's drama. And the more you care about the characters, the more you're going to go on, and it's going to hurt. Because if you think about this script, the movie, there's not a lot of deaths in it. You know, like you don't have people getting hacked and slashed and what's, you know, it's like, it's very more internal, right? And psychological. And that's kind of what I was looking forward to. Like, The Shining is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, you know, I just read this script and I was like, okay, we could do something with this. So
Meg Foster's a legend. She's an icon in horror. What was that like to work with? Just amazing, right?
She's the biggest sweetheart. She's incredible. I just loved having her on set. I just felt, you know, chi with people. You guys have good chi, even though we're doing, you know, the virtual. I could feel it. You know, you just have. She had good chi. She had good energy. You know, and she's an icon. She's incredible. She's done amazing work. I mean, They Live. I mean, we can just go on and on. I mean, Rob Zombie stuff. You know, that was interesting too, because she, on Rob Zombie's movie, I guess she just went into this trance, right? And she kind of did it on The Accursed. She just goes and starts speaking in tongues and whatever. And it's like, you better have that camera rolling and ready to go, you know? And what's funny is what I found out with Meg is what she told me is that once she does it, she forgets it. She can't even remember what she did. She just goes to that place and then it's gone, you know? So it was just great working with her.
She gives such a fun performance too. I love that your film just hits the ground running. You feel like you're coming in the third act of another movie. You're like, damn, where are we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, one of the things I also very much enjoyed about your film is there seemed to be a lot of focus on practical effects, which I'm such a champion for that sort of thing. So I was wondering if that was a conscious effort to kind of keep things grounded and practical over using CGs.
Absolutely. You know, we talked with Willie's the same thing, right? Like, it's tactile. You can touch it. You can feel it, right? You can smell it. And to me, when you see that movie, you like you said, you can just feel the practical. And I think that CG is great. I like to use CG as you augment it. You just kind of brush stroke it with the CG. And that's some things we did. But like the demon suit was for whole practical, you know. Cinema Makeup School did a fantastic job making that for us, you know. So yeah, I love practical effects. Sometimes they take time shooting, you know, but you know what you get, you know. And you know, we're old school. Like I just, you know, again, movies like Evil Dead and stuff like that. It's practical, all that stuff. I mean, it's just awesome, you know. So I feel with VFX, sometimes we just kind of lose ourselves. And I was watching something the other day and I was like, yep, VFX shot, you know, it's like, it just, to me, takes me out of it. And I just try to do as much practical as we can.
How did you approach the look of this without spoiling too much, obviously? How did you approach the creature images that you see on display?
So I worked with a great artist, Dave McAdoo, and he kind of just did all these different designs, and we were going through them, and it was like, oh, I like this one, and and then we were like, how about mix and match, and we just came up with this demon, you know, the look of the demon, and want to do something unique, but kind of, you know, the thing about the demons in movies are interesting because it's like, it's not what they do exactly, but it's how they affect everything around them, the world around them. So what I did was, I called it the demon shake, the demon vibe, where as he comes out, we kind of image shake the frame a little bit. So, and how he's hypnotizing these women and how everything is just kind of becoming his aura, you know. So we did a practical demon makeup, and then we did, you know, slimed him up and all that fun stuff. But then we also did some augmenting of the flies, VFX of the flies. And the fly is very important in this, right? Because that's the whole opening when she says, I hear fly, and I don't see it, you know, and then you see the flies at the end. So it's funny because now every time I see a fly, I always think of the Accursed. But but yeah, it's so yeah, I wanted to do, I like practical. I like to do like sometimes if I can do it, like a 60-70% practical, 30 VFX, you know? So you've got the meat of it on practical, and you just take brush strokes with the VFX and really make it sing. So that was kind of the way we did the demon.
And kind of continuing on, you know, the visuals of the film, your film had a really kind of interesting, like Southern Gothic aesthetic to it. What did you draw on for the visual inspiration for kind of the look of your film overall?
We shot in Savannah, Georgia, and you can just feel it, right? When you go to Savannah, you can feel the history and the ghost stories and the old history of the town, if walls could talk, right? So you could feel it there, the thickness in the air, you know? So I kind of wanted to capture that for our movie. The script didn't have, you could do it anywhere really, but when we were picked Savannah, it was like, we got to really showcase this. So the big old homes and things like that. And I just wanted a thickness to it. I wanted to feel this vibe of kind of an unsettled vibe from the beginning all the way to the end. Just something is off, something's not right, you know. And Savannah is a great place, you know. What's interesting is we built the cabin in this gym. There was an elementary school, and the elementary school closed after during COVID, and the church picked it up. The church wasn't having their sermons inside, so they went outside on the weekends. So we took over this gym in an elementary school and built that whole cabin. And what's really cool is that we know that, you know, in Evil Dead 2, they did that. They built the cabin in a gym. So I just think that was just awesome, you know. But but it was fun to have control, you know, and just kind of like, okay, we can move this wall out, put the camera here, and so that was a lot of fun. I was excited. Burns, our production designer, he's fantastic, and he did the blueprints and everything, and him and his team and Benji and all, they just put together a great set for us.
You said the gym was owned by a church. Did they have any problem with your subject matter?
I don't know if they read the script. I was worried they were going to read the script. I think they just saw the dollar bills and said, okay, we'll do it. You know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was going to ask the exact
same
good question. Yeah, that's hilarious. I want, you know, one of the things that there's a challenge between, you know, we've seen religion, demonic possession, countless times, and you mentioned a couple earlier. How do you find a new way?
How do I find a new way of tackling it? The idea is, you're right, and the thing is, you got to give somebody new something new, but also something familiar. So the thing is like the demon. I knew we had to get it right, but again, it wasn't just about that. It was about what is going on psychologically with these characters, right? At this point, especially in the third act. So I always knew, like, if we can get the psychology right, if we can get these moments right, where people believe this in the characters, we're halfway there. Then we can get the demon and everything else. So the demon, the idea is, yes, we've seen these movies before. They're and what's exciting about that is, like, yeah, are you breaking new ground? Maybe not. But the point is that I think all of us grow up, we have this religion, whether we continue our faith or not. I mean, my kids are in Catholic school and I'm not even Catholic, okay? But there's just something innate in all of us about where we came from, where we're going, what's, where is there a heaven? Is there a hell? I just think that that's all in us, okay? And so you kind of try to play on that a little bit, right? And so that's why the psychology comes from, and the whole thing about the mother and her flashbacks and what's real and what's not. And kind of the whole theme of, at the end of the day, it's about guilt, and you have to let the guilt go, and you have to deal with the demons. We all have demons, every one of us, okay? And if you don't deal with them sooner, you're going to deal with them later. And one of my favorite phrases is, it doesn't get you till it gets you, you know? And poor Ellie, she let it get to her, you know? And, you know, I can see the idea of, you know, a man goes off, a son, he goes off, gets married, at least traditional way, gets married, has kids, whatever. The daughter takes care of the parent usually, right? Usually. And it's like, well, she wasn't there. She beats herself up for it, all these things. So the idea is that she's lost and she lets the guilt take over her, you know, and it's sad because a lot of people do that, and they don't live life, right? And we're talking about, dealing with our parents. And it's like, I feel to myself, like, if I could just spend, okay, I'm busy with my kids. I'm busy writing a script. I'm busy working on a movie. I could spend that time with my mom. She's not going to be here forever. Am I going to beat myself up for it? Am I going to have regrets? Everyone that says they don't have regrets is, to me, lying. We all have regrets. We all could have done something maybe better or whatever. But at the end of the day, you live with it, and you have to let it go. Even if you have regrets, you have to let it go. And so that's, I think, the theme of this movie, is that these demons manifest in our movie in a physical form. But like I said, we all have demons. We all have to face them, and then we have to let it go. And we have to move on, and we have to move on and help the next generation. The mother of Ellie didn't help her, right? The mother of Alma didn't help her. The sins of the mother are revisited on their daughters. Nothing changes. It just keeps going around the same. George Lucas always talked about Star Wars. Everything's cyclical, right? It's like everything comes back. Everything's come back. That's one of the great things of nature and man. And we always talk about history will never teach us right. History will teach us nothing. I remember Sting had a song like that. History will teach us nothing. And we got to learn from history, right? We've got to learn that, we can move on. We don't have to carry this, and there's things to deal with. Now you can talk to people, but back in the day, you was a weirdo if you had a shrink or a psychiatrist, right? But now it's okay. It's okay. We all are dealing with things. So in a nutshell, when you're talking about how you do the demon, it really comes back to all those themes and to me, executing on those themes.